Well, there you are. Again, Charlie Greer podcast. I do this every day. Today, the Chuck Berry story. This is a good one. Before we start, please like, share, subscribe. You want to support the channel? The information's in the description for Zelle. Let's do this. Chuck Berry, legend, the king of rock and roll. I love Chuck Berry, man. I was just listening to Chuck Berry. Which reminded me of this story that I'm a guitarist. I mean, I've been playing guitar since I was 8, got serious when I was 12, and then, that's what I like. So, yeah, Chuck Berry. So in 98, I moved to St. Louis. My grandfather, Red Alexander, was the biggest antique wholesaler in the Midwest. And we had Alexander's. It was in Central West End. On Euclid, by that big hotel there. And then when I came around, we were in Dutchtown on Merrimack. So in 1994, he's not doing well. I came to work for him. And with that came a lot of responsibility. Responsibility is a heavy responsibility, let me tell you. So I'm a rocker. At the time I still had my long hair. He made me cut my hair. You better. And I was defiant. He paid me. He said, I've never seen that kind of money. What the fuck? I'll go cut my hair. Sure, I will. And my mom too. So anyway. He knew everybody. He was juiced in. I mean, he everything was on. Anyway. So I got, hey, go here, go there, go everywhere. Meet this person, talk to him, tell them who you are, and then report back to me how they react. What do I have to do it? So I got to meet a lot of these people are friendly. I mean, question mark. But anyway, you meet people and then you realize like who's who and who's not who and who thinks they are and then trying not to be and hiding in plain sight and all this shit. And some of them, I've got friendly with. And one of them was, he was also a musician, from New York, tie, whatever. I love Chuck Berry. And so he was like, hey, man, I got Chuck Berry's phone number. What? 1,000 people. No, he goes, no. Not his, because Chuck lived outside of St. Louis. Chuck's from St. Louis. And I think it's called New Melly. It's outside of St. Louis. And he had a compound, okay? Berry Farm. I don't even know what they call it. I forgot. Not his management, not the front gates, not the compound, not his private secretary. I'm talking about the room he's in, the phone that's there. You mean his personal line? Yep. We should call him. And this is before, like, I'm like, you're shitting me. You're lying. No. Every once in a while, I wish him happy birthday and this and that. No. Really? Interesting. Yeah. I want to hear this. So he called him. And Chuck Berry kind of had this soft voice, okay? Very articulate, smart. You could tell he almost sounded like Michael Jackson or something. Oh yeah, just very timid, oh sure. So then I got the number. Okay. So he was like, yeah, I got it. I had to do something to get, nothing's for free. And I hope it's okay to tell this story. I mean, anyway. Who am I going to ask anyways? Everybody's passed. So, I start calling Chuck Berry. Okay, so the first time I call him, yeah, who is this? I told him who I was. At the time, see, my grandfather was William Alexander. They called him Red Alexander. My mom's maiden name was Alexander. So they built it Alexander. So when I became vice president of the corporation, started running the store and stuff, everybody thought I was Charlie Alexander, even though my name is Greer. See, my mom got married, her changed her name to Greer. It's a long, you don't want to explain that to people. So when I show up, they're like, oh, that's Charlie Alexander. That's just who huh? I'm not gonna be, oh, well, see, my mom's maiden name. You don't get into that. You're Charlie Alexander. That's it. Okay. All right, fuck. Charlie Alexander. So who are you? I'm Charlie Alexander. I'm Red Alexander's grandson. Oh, because see, my grandfather knew Chuck Berry since as soon as he got money or whatever. Chuck is from St. Louis. As soon as Chuck got money, whatever, got out of jail for whatever he did, Chuck Berry, that is, was in jail for a while. So he started getting money. He was buying all this fancy stuff. He'd go to my grandfather, who had the biggest store. He could get anything. If he didn't have it, he'd find it. You know? So he knew my grandfather for decades. Oh, he called him Mr. Alexander. How is Mr. Alexander? Oh, yeah, he's good. He's getting, this. That. So I talked to Chuck, and he scolded me like, look, how did you get this number? Of course, I'm not going to. I think my grandfather had it, but I didn't get it that way. So, well, see, it's kind of just change the subject, It might have been on his birthday because I didn't call Chuck Berry out of the blue. I wouldn't call him every week. We talk like for 5 minutes. I got to get by. Call him on his birthday or Christmas, whatever. He'd always say, hello. So, but this is the thing. This is the moral of the story. I didn't give Chuck Berry the proper respect. See, I was in my 20s. I was like 27 or something. I had just been, I'd never dealt with this kind of situation as far as like having all the, hey, so I was trying to dip my beak in something I liked, like meeting Chuck Berry. I shouldn't have went at Chuck with that at that angle. Matter of fact, I went straight. That's right. So myself and the person that I got the number from would call Chuck. Okay. I think it was like about it. Anyway, my grandfather passed. He died of cancer. And big wake at the cathedral in Lindell and all this shit. So I called Chuck, like again on his birthday, maybe a year later. And he's asked, like, hey, that's Mr. Alexander. Well, he passed. And then Chuck was like, oh, really? Yeah. He goes, you know what? I'm at a birthday party. You should come. Bring your friend. Okay. My dumb ass. Okay. Stupid. You know what I mean? The only reason I had this connection and power, whatever the fuck it was because of my grandfather. See, I forgot I was young. It's immaturity. Should have known better, man. Now I would have known. Shit, I want to call Chuck Berry. Gotta give him his proper respect. You're young. You don't even, come on. And yeah, here's the address. I knew where it was at. I cruised by it. It's a big place. It was fenced in. Big marble thing that said Berry Park, what it was called. So I wasn't thinking. Call it, but hey, yeah, let's go. He's gonna invite us to the birthday. And then he was like, "What? Why are you inviting us to the birthday?" Then he got excited. Well, we talked to maybe it's dumb. No foresight. See, I was thinking, I wasn't thinking ahead. I didn't have any like 1 + 1 makes 2. None of that. Okay. Good thing it was only Chuck Berry, So we go out there, and he's got a security gate like this. It's like a fence, electronic, whatever. And there's a little building there with and there's another building right 100 yards back. Oh yeah. So they open the gate. We start walking. See, I picked up some park right here. Like there's a, right in front of there wasn't a parking lot. I mean, I guess you could park there because I did. I had a van. Park there. Walk in, and it's a long walk. It's like this long, and then my spidey senses started going off. Like, wait a minute. Because I could see where people park and where I'm basically parked on the street. This ain't right. I was telling like, man, that something ain't right. Oh no, man, no. Sure enough, we get past that gate. It was still going this way. So we get through, walk about maybe not even 10, 20 feet. And from that other building, here comes this, like it wasn't a golf cart or maybe a souped up golf cart. It had a top on it with no doors with 2 big security guys. Obviously these guys, and they got it floored. I know there was a governor on, but it's just, they're coming at us and they had this look of like, so I'm like, oh shit, everything came in, when it just like it clicks and you're like, oh fuck. You remember the first conversation, you realize what you've done. You just like, I should have gave Chuck Berry respect. Now, granted, we might not have been beat up, but we were going to get, a tongue lashing, schooled, which we did. I immediately like, let's get to the van. And it's like, what are you talking about? And then after it got close, he's like, you're right. By then it's closing. We got, get to the van. And here they come. And that's exactly what happened. Don't you call Chuck again. Don't you do, who the hell are you? Tap, tap, tap. See? Now, see, Chuck could do that because I told my grandfather was dead. My grandfather had been alive. He wouldn't have done that. But now my grandfather's dead. See, I don't have that umbrella of protection. I'm his fucking grandson. I'm a nepotist, man. Act like a fool. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck was I thinking? It's like, shit. And then I was like, I knew exactly. And I was trying to explain he should have, anyway. You live and learn. Pissed off my favorite guitarist, I told my mom about this. You dumbass. And then it got out. Like, my grandfather, if he'd have known, he would have been pissed too. Like, you don't go at Chuck Berry. Like, huh? He's like, for one, he's a client. Two, he's the king of rock and roll. I mean, shit, what are you thinking? I wasn't thinking, At least I knew that I was fuck, what did we, Of course, there was no physical harm. You know what I mean? It wasn't like that. Like he's going to kill us or anything. No, he wanted it again. And he was in the right. Mr. Berry, Chuck Berry was in the right. He had and he was smart about it. Like, I'm going to school this kid, but his grandfather's can't do it now. That's how you do it. Chuck Berry been through that. Was nothing for Chuck. He probably did shit. That's no big deal to him. But he had to do it. He had to. We interrupted his peace. We're calling him in his personal line. What a dumbass I was. What a fucking fool. I feel so bad. I wanted to get a hold of Chuck. Don't you call it? I ain't gonna call it. I ripped up the number. Oh, shit. I mean, everybody plays the fool, man. No exception to the rule. Listen, baby. It's just like that. You make mistakes. You can't be too hard on yourself. You got to learn. Like, man, I got that. Good thing I wasn't something else. Shit. Because I never did that. See, I thought it was, I never stepped out of line, to use my family's influence to do certain things. I never did that. I never did any kind of, and I could have lined my pockets and this and that and the other. Never did. That's why I survived. But, I should have, it's one of the, it's like, what the, you know what I mean? To this day, I feel like kicking myself in the ass. Love Chuck Berry. And like I'm going to be like, oh, fuck Chuck Berry. No. Matter of fact, I like him more now. I think that's cool. He did the right thing. And he did it right. He did the right thing, and he went around it the right way. He schooled me. Shit, it would cost the price of an education to learn that knowledge, And I'm grateful that it happened. See, sometimes, human behavior, psychology, you kind of lose what you think. It's just, what are you going to do? I'm not going to internalize it, but I'm not going to, you contemplate it. I was talking about yesterday, contemplate on the sea of regret. A beach of regret. Yeah. That's one of those pebbles of regret that I sit on the beach every once in a while and contemplate about. Again, I love Chuck Berry. I love rock and roll. Elvis supposedly is the king of rock and roll, which he kind of is. Chuck Berry, man. Chuck Berry is the guitar god. He's the how he writes songs and the melodies and the choruses and stuff. They never forget that from Chuck. And he lived like the life he lived. He lived till an old man. He passed, shit. And I'd go see him at the Blue Note, I think it was called, on Del Mar, in St. Louis, like University City, little club. He'd play there like twice a year. Uh, and with his like little aviator hat on and some glitter jacket. And by then he was old, I mean, I did not dare go up to him and go, "Hey, remember me? I was the dumbass that kind of called you." No, 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 nope. I was hoping he would. I never talked to him. Again, that's again my fault. I stepped out of line with Chuck Berry. How stupid is And then the people that they know, that circle, you people that you know what I mean. It was like a running joke. I'd be around a circle of certain people, and they're like, "Ah, you dumbass." Like, well, I mean, and they'd also, good thing you weren't with. Yeah, yeah, good thing. You live and learn. You know, I love Chuck Berry. I listen to Chuck Berry to this day, man. I'm stealing his riffs. We all are. We all have. He paved the way for the Stones and everybody, Beatles and everybody. He's the best guitarist that ever lived in my mind. Now, granted, he took it from Robert Johnson, but his style and the duck walk and that whole just grab your guitar, plug it into a Fender Twin and crank it. And how he used his volume, like he would have like his neck pickup, the selector, if it was up, it was kind of soft, and you slap it down, it's rock. Jimmy Page took that from me. It's all Chuck Berry. Slash, they all, and they'll admit it. I mean, I don't. They would, and I'm sure they have. Modern rock and roll was invented by Chuck Berry. Those songs, the Beach Boys, man, had to settle out with they just took a Chuck Berry song and wrote the lyrics over it, and he went, whoa, 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 whoa. And he won. Some of those Beach Boys songs now are credited to Chuck Berry. You can't go around stealing and you dumbasses from California. Little old lady from Pasadena. Fuck you, Chuck Berry's thinking. I'll get mines, and he did. Hell, he had Beach Boy money. And probably, who else? I just know about the Beach Boy thing. It's and I'm sure I probably am not the only one. Granted, I should have thought it through. I should have had some foresight. I should have sat there and contemplated, like, should I call Chuck Berry? Because this is disrespectful to call him on a secret line that probably not many people have, and he was like, I got through. He was like, I can't believe you got through, because he had a long-term, like, secretary or something. And he's like, usually it goes to there. Nobody calls me, He was expecting, that phone he had in his little private area in the house, whatever, he was expecting it was somebody. If that rings, it's someone he knows. It's someone he can talk, it ain't like a dude he don't know. And I have to name drop my grandfather to, just idiocy, man. See, we all can be idiots. But in my case, I didn't repeat it. I learned. I was depressed afterward. You're like, what did I do? Of course, it was thrown in my face every now and then. You have to laugh about these things. DJ, come here. Always has to shake her little collar. She knows that, man, they're smart. Dogs are smart. They know. She knows I'm live. So yeah, what do? Learn from your mistakes. That's what you do. You don't lean in. There's certain things you need to lean into, not these kind of things. I did a dumb nepotist mistake. Coattail riding off my grandfather's reputation. Okay. And At least I didn't. Again, that's the only time I stepped out of line and used that. I wasn't going around going, hey, man, this is that. Because I could have. I didn't do that. Nope. Of course, they schooled me about you. Don't you dare. Like, well, I didn't. Again, I was young. I didn't really understand. I mean, I did. It's just that there's, anyway. And if you could, I used to have a lot of stuff and keys to this and that and the other thing, and it's all kinds of whatever. Great health insurance and stuff. Knew everybody. Matter of fact, that people knew me. See, people wanted to be my friend. Hey, and they'd be like, remember, make sure to tell your grandfather. And I was like, whoa. Really? And they told me about that. They're like, look, they're gonna be coming at you, doing fit, this, that, and the other. Don't. I didn't. I played it off, and that makes you even kind of cooler because I wasn't in his world. I was an artist. Granted, I was working for the family, but I didn't. He was used to be a bootlegger and all this shit, build up this business and, different kind of. He'd look at me like, what did you, but he respected the arts and he knew them all, especially from St. Louis. I'm talking about Red Fox, William Burroughs. I mean, you name it. Well, they'd buy stuff. Their family would buy all that, their furniture and antique, whatever. Got it from the town I'm in right now. Is about 2 hours from St. Louis. Guess what? That's what we've been buying antiques around here. He was bootlegging around here. That was one of the stops when you went to Canada. I don't even, shit. What the reason I lived here in the 80s and my mother and our family, because of him. That big house we used to live in, it's shit. Had nothing. We didn't do, I was a kid. I mean, but to this day, he's been dead since what, 94, 95? In certain circles, I can say, hey, man, okay, nice to meet you. Probably until I'll be long, and they still in certain, especially in St. Louis, St. Louis is tough. The cops would come in like every year or so and like question about, like, man, get the fuck out of here. Coming at me because they thought, they knew I was green and I was just out there trying to intimidate me, about things that they thought that happened before I was born and all that, they do it to my mom too. She'd be at a restaurant, they'd show up. Trying to, they had to, again, that world doesn't exist for us anymore. A lot of things have changed for a bunch of people. It didn't like it used to be, and again, it wasn't me. I didn't, and it didn't, it went fast after my grandfather passed. And there was people we thought were our friends and stuff. After he passed, we never saw these people again. Like that, they're coming after us, our businesses, and they did. Everybody, a lot of, it's it's hard to explain to somebody that's never really accomplished anything in their life because in their fragile eggshell pea-headed mind, they can't. Well, I never would know. There's not, they don't know. And a lot of times you don't want to know, I worked 6 days a week, man. I had to remember all these names and shit and who to talk to, who not to do business with. This said, oh my God, that shit. It affected this day. I'm affected. It's hard to live. It's hard to be normal. That helped me in LA though. Helped me anywhere I, and people would, even in LA, Real Alexander. Yep. But that's my grandfather. See, it's not like, you know what I mean? I could only use that for, and I made a mistake of disrespecting Chuck Berry, calling him on his personal line. What dipshit, lard ass, dumbass does that? Me. I mean, huh? What are you going to do? Learn. That's what you're going to do. And I was scolded by Chuck Berry. Well, his security. Um, and they're like, "You're never allowed back here." Well, this is the first time we came. We only got 20 feet, but by the, of course we're not coming. What do you think we're going to do? Come back? No. In fact, as they were still like, I just started my van gone. Then that pissed them off. But shit. I couldn't feel my legs. I was like, oh shit, what do we do? My hands were numb. I was like so scared I couldn't swallow, knowing that granted, it wasn't physical. They were gonna. It's just a thing. See, Chuck Berry was a powerful guy. He knew everybody. Everybody respected Chuck Berry. Who am I? Nobody, man. And nothing. Right? Thinking that I might, He schooled me. He did me a favor. He did me a solid. And of course, 30 years later or whatever, I can tell it on my podcast. Keep out certain names, but that's just how it is. We all play the fool, man. But the trick is, and it's kind of tricky, is don't repeat said stupid shit. Don't be, coattail riding off of other people's shit. Be your own, stand on your own. Now you've got to become I was like, I ain't, I mean, in the art world, I kind of, I didn't, I wouldn't take any shit. Even before I knew what was going on with, I've always been kind of hard-headed, but I was raised by, he was Commodore of the Yacht Club in Alton back in the day, had his yacht. We'd go to hang out for the weekend on his yacht. He was also before he got too old, was the, something or other on the river there. Not National Guard, but something. If you're out there on the river and your, boat exploded or whatever, they would go out there and investigate with that shit. But he was the Commodore at the Alton Yacht Club. You just can't mosey on and up just to be the Commodore. At the time, it was nice. I'm sure that's been flooded and rebuilt. It was always getting flooded. I love going on the yacht. And they'd be eating caviar, feeding their cat caviar. I hated caviar. Like, try this, Charles David. No, I don't. Always made me read books. Because he had like the rooms. There was like rooms in the, bedrooms in the yacht. But go down there, read this book, spend the day. I don't want to. I want to fit. No, get down. He would school me on. He'd ask me questions about. And I'd be like, well, he goes, at least read the pictures and underneath that. Just read that a couple of times, Tough love he was into, man, I miss those days. I miss my grandfather. Those old dudes don't exist anymore. I mean, maybe it's a few of them are alive. He was funny. He was smart. He was charming. Till the day he died, he had all these women and he lived in the Tremor Castle on Lindell. I'm talking about nice. That lobby, Google that. The lobby of the Tremor Castle on Lindell. Shit. Marble and this and that. Little store. You could buy cigarettes if you lived there. Wasn't as big, but he had like a maid's quarter back behind the kitchen where a maid could live if he, and when he was alive, I was going back and forth. I would love to live at the Tremor Castle. Dear Lord. That's probably bad. Now, who knows? St. Louis is one. I don't even know. Times have changed. Every generation has to deal with this said kind of, but yeah, pissing off Chuck Berry. I haven't told this story forever. Kind of like you don't want to think about it. You want to forget. There's things you bet you don't want to be like, oh, by the way, there's this one time, nah. But it comes in your mind. You think about, okay, and you contemplate on it again. You think, well, thank God I learned. Thank God that I knew. Again, pissing off your hero isn't like the coolest thing to do. But I did it. I had to forgive myself. You know. And when we were being chewed out by security, we're tell Mr. Berry we said we're sorry. We love Chuck Berry. Get the fuck out! Don't ever come back. Okay, I was gone, not to return. Matter of fact, I wouldn't even. I wouldn't get back. I wouldn't go near New Melly anymore, where he lived outside St. Louis. I think it's called New Melly. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, dumb. Look how haggard I am. See, you do stupid shit like pissed off Chuck Berry. This is the result. These are the results of a beach of regret. I'll just lay on the beach of regret and contemplate. But yeah, man, I do this every day. So guess what? I'm gonna be back tomorrow. Ranting like a madman. All right, y'all. I love you. I love y'all. Be blessed. Cheers.